Hello. Hello, 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 hello. Can everybody see me? Can everybody hear me? Etc, etc. Hi, Susan. Oof. It is warm here today. Woof. I'm going to move this. It's not going to be in the way. Yeah, I've just pinned a message at the top of the channel. My internet is extremely unstable. Let me just move my camera across a second. Nudge you over here. There we go, that's better. Now I'm in the middle. Don't have to keep going like this. Hey Mika. Yeah, my internet is extremely unstable at the moment. My internet provider is having outages all over the country at the drop of a hat. So I've pinned a comment to the top of the channel so people can see that. But, you know, just in case if I disappear, that's why. It's been a regular occurrence for the last few days. So I don't expect today to be any different if I'm 100% honest. As you can see, today I have this gorgeous picture of some tiger lilies. I love tiger lilies. These are my favourite flowers. These and yellow roses. These are... I've got a huge back piece tattoo of these. Love them. So, I'm going to paint some on this page because this is alcohol marker. This bled through from... this is a Patreon piece I did the other day. We were just playing with, you know, just doing still life type stuff, witchy based, with alcohol markers and a limited palette. So that was fun. But now, of course, we have the bleed through to deal with, and the easiest way to deal with bleed through is paint over it. So that's what we're going to do. Hi Jane, hi Tyler. How doth thou? I thought if you're going to paint tiger lilies, Midsummer's Day is probably the day to do it. I mean, don't they look really cheerful? And it's not very cheerful out. It's kind of dull and might rain. So I thought this would be nice. I may have to put the studio light on. It's that dark in here today. Hey Risha. So if at some point you can't really see what I'm doing properly, or I can't see what I'm doing properly, the studio light will go on. But for now, I don't really need it on, and I don't really want to waste electricity if I don't have to, because everything is expensive. So, gouache. This is my tub of gouache. I have quite a lot of gouache in different types, and I like to mix them all together. I think I'll probably work in Acryla gouache today because I'm really digging that at the moment. But I've got these airtight palettes, which are very good actually. This is my Winsor & Newton colours. So I've just got a small amount in there. I don't really need a pot for these. What I do is I put them in here so that when I'm using them for teaching or like for this or whatever, I don't have to keep putting it out on a palette and opening pots and all that kind of stuff. It's just easier to have some out and grab what I want out of there. That's my jelly gouache. This is not all of my colours, but this is the colours that I use the most. Except for white. I've got a big tube of white that I use with everything. As you can see, these are still perfectly wet and wild. And my yellow needs refilling. So that's my jelly gouache. I might use some of these over the top of the acrylic gouache later. I don't know. I don't know what I feel like. Depends how it goes, really. This is another airtight palette, although it does eventually dry out, but these are the Reeves gouache. And as you can see, they dry out, and like this one is starting to lift from the palette, but I'll just put a little bit of water onto it. Grab literally just a bit of water, put it down underneath where it's starting to crack away from the palette, and that'll wet it enough to just stick it back down to the palette so they don't break. So this is great for travel. They're not the best gouache on the planet, but they're really good, and they re-wet really nicely. So you can get opaque colours as if you were using a watercolour set. So these are really handy for like urban sketching and stuff like that. Oh, dog hair. wouldn't be a stream if it wasn't a dog hair. So yeah, these are really useful. These should not be in here. These are acrylic paint pens. They should be in there. This is my Arteza gouache. Which I'm slowly working through. And basically I'm trying to work through as much of this as I can and use it up. I have tried lots of different gouache. I like the Greaves gouache for travel. The jelly gouache is not bad at all. Winsor & Newton is great, but I actually prefer Holbein. I've got 3 Holbeins in here and they're much better. So I'm gradually swapping over to Holbeins, but I'm using up my Winsor & Newton, and as I run out of a tube, I buy Holbein. And if I need a new colour, I buy a Holbein colour. So that way I'm not spending like £6,000 on 10 tubes of paint, because Holbein's expensive. And I would rather buy Acryla gouache at the moment because that's what I'm into. My Acryla gouache is not in here, which has mildly surprised me because I thought it was. That's why I've got it out. It must be, put that in my cart, it must be down here. So this is, which one's this? This is my Winsor & Newton, I think. Yeah, that's my Winsor & Newton, my actual tubes. Like if I'm painting without filming it, and I'm not in a rush, and it doesn't matter how long it takes me to get paint out, then I use my tubes of paint. I only use the palette for quick stuff. There's my Acryla gouache. These bags are brilliant, by the way. I bought a load of them on Amazon, like 20 for a £5 or something ridiculous. They're see-through, but not distractingly so. And if you stand them up like that, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in my Raskog next to me. So I can have all these supplies with me that I can use. Right, let's grab a paintbrush and, whoops. It's gone really dark, but you can still see what's going on screen, so I'm not going to put the light on yet. If I put this one on, will it make any difference? Oh no, it blows it out. Okay, so we don't need the light on just yet. It's just, the whole room is really dark. You've got tiger lilies in your garden, Jane. Oh my God. I've got a huge tattoo back piece of tiger lilies that I did. Well, I didn't do the tattoo. I designed the tattoo. I absolutely love them. Got your new Oracle deck. So now you have 2 illustrated Oracle decks instead of 1. Oh, cool. Which one did you get? Okay, I need to put a thingy on this page so that I don't get paint all over it. Oops. I'll put that there. Water. 2 pots of water. 1 for clean water, 1 for dirty water. I need a paintbrush. The one I have in front of me will work. Shall I use a bigger one? Use this one actually. I redid all my brushes the other day. If you don't know, these synthetic brushes, because they're plastic, they're essentially a lower grade of wig hair, like the Kineklon fibres, Taklon fibres that they use for wigs. It's essentially plastic fibre, and if you dip your brush, not all the way up because you'll destroy the glue in the ferrule, but if you dip the hairs themselves in boiling water for a few seconds, and then you grab a big thick cloth and just do that with them and press them together, your brush will go flat again. So you hold it until it cools for like a minute or so, and then dunk it in cold water and press it flat again, and it should be flat instead of crazy splayed. I mean, I do have a couple of fuzzy bits here. You can probably see there. I do have a couple of fuzzy bits, but the other day when I tried to use it, it was like this. So it looked like the kind of brush you put face powder on with the other day, but it goes flat again. So to get a little bit more life out of your cheapo brushes, what I'm gonna do, oof, gosh, it's gone really dark. Ugh, I hope we're not gonna have thunderstorm, because if we do, Maddie's gonna be on my head like a Klingon, like alien style, you know. So hopefully we won't have a storm, and I can just paint. I need a palette. Where's my palette? I'm not organised today at all. I can't see my palette, so I'm gonna... There's another thrifty tip for you, because we need all the thrifty tips we can get. When you have big sheets of, like, this was from when I covered my A6 Hobonichi the other day. I put plastic, sticky back plastic on it. If I've got a big sheet of like sticker paper, wax paper type stuff like this, I keep it. I can use them as palettes. They're only good for one use, but they work. Waste not, want not. You had one down there yesterday. Yeah, we've been having them on and off for a while, but like flash in the pan type things. 2 rolls of thunder and a bit of lightning and then it's gone. We haven't had a proper storm. We haven't had one that breaks the weather, as we say up here in Hobbitshire. But it is getting dark. Oh, can you tell on camera how dark it is? It's weird. It's like 8 o'clock at night, but it's not. Obviously, it's 5 in the evening. You're going to order the little ghost oracle. The little ghost oracle. Is that the one Cody's got? The cute... Or, no, she's got the spooky tarot, hasn't she? The divine inspiration messages on Volier sausages. That sounds really funny. From the Wild Edition. I haven't seen that one. I'm not familiar with it. I'll have to check it out later. I'm on a do not buy decks. Do not buy decks, do not buy art materials. We are going to get started in 1 second, but just before I begin, I did make a mention of it last week, but One Book July. We're not running an official One Book July this year, okay? So if you're waiting for a video to come out telling you what the rules are, there are no rules. We've taken the 10th anniversary version of No Rules to the max. We're not even setting a challenge this year. Do what you want. Don't even do the challenge if you don't want to. We're not. We've got good reason. Vicky has currently 4 jobs, 3 kids, 2 dogs, and a lot of chickens to deal with. Carrie is concentrating on trying to get her masters finished. A lot of you know she's not been around on YouTube for a long time because she's been working on this masters for so long. Oh, Sauvage! Oh, right, okay. Okay. Wild Messages. Is that right? Envoyer Sauvage. Wild Messages. Yeah, sorry. Carrie is working on her masters, and I've been doing One Book July pretty much since the beginning. I've always had one book that I plan in. I've kind of run out of things to say about One Book July that's new. So I wanted to take some time out to rethink what I'm going to do and, figure out where we go from here. But also I've got 3 oil painting commissions to work on this summer, and I need to get on with them. So I can't afford to take a month where I'm concentrating on editing videos all the time. That takes a huge chunk of my time up, and I just don't have the time this year. So yeah, no official One Book July this year, but if you go over to our channel, brilliantly and inspiringly named One Book July on YouTube, you'll find the whole of the last 9 years worth of videos, not just from us, but from the community. There's some in foreign languages. There's a girl who does sign language videos. Everything, it's all over there. Go pick a challenge, go do it, make a video if you want to, add the hashtag One Book July and it'll automatically add to the channel. You don't need us to do One Book July. You can do One Book July yourselves if you want to. So that's that announcement. Secondly, if you are on Patreon, I'm just going to call it Patreon. My class, if you do my classes with me over on Patreon or anywhere else that my classes are, next week is a break week. Because we do 12 sessions per month for 3 months, we end up with a break week in the middle. So next week is a break week. It's the summer break for 4th of July. It always happens around the big holiday, so it's useful. So we're off until the 5th or 6th of July. Yeah, and then we're back. So if you were thinking of trying out for a month to see what's on there without feeling like you're getting behind because you're not watching current videos, next week's a good time to sign up and watch as many videos as you like in a week and see how you go. And if you want to come and join us after that, you can just stay subscribed till July. Simple. We do 6 hours minimum of live videos every week with an optional additional 4 hours, depending on which tier you're in. I put a lot of work into my Patreon. Yes. We don't just do a couple of stickers in a video. Not that I'm knocking stickers. I love stickers. I'm a patron of people who do stickers myself, so I'm not knocking stickers. I'm just saying there's a lot of content to watch if that's what you're after. Let's paint. Let's start with sketching it in very roughly in pencil. I'm going to use a watercolour pencil in the orange because that will fade into the background. And I literally can't see what's going on. So give me 1 second. I'm going to turn my camera off and put my light on over there. I'll be back in 2 seconds. On a list of things I thought I was going to have to do today, putting my studio light on before 6 o'clock was not one of them. The 4th is the Tuesday for the week back. Thank you. So 4th of July weekend is the holiday week, and then the actual 4th of July is the Tuesday. And that's our first day back when we do all the astrology for the month. Fun, fun. And it's retrograde season, so things are ramping up. Right, watercolour pencil. Okay, I can't see what I'm painting. You can see what I'm looking at. I can't see what I'm looking at because the light's reflecting on it. So I'm going to put it up there for now while I draw it. So flowers like this, actually, if I hold it there, I can see what I'm doing and you can see the picture. Okay, which will make more sense if I'm showing you what I'm doing. You've got to try and ignore the background. I know it's going to be hard. It's hard to sketch on a background like this, but it's really good practice, ignoring what's going on in the background. So the first thing I'm going to do is roughly put in, these flowers are very roughly big circles. So let's put some big circles in. And then I'm going to decide where the centre is, this part here, the very centre of the flower itself, as I see it on screen. Now if you look at the circle of the flower, which goes to here, between there and there, that is not in the middle, because it's at an angle. So actually the flower is an ellipse shape. So that tells me that I need to bring the sides out a little bit on this one. And I would say that is about maybe a third. Where's halfway? Halfway is about there. Okay, so if I divide it in half and then I take it a third of the way down this edge. So there's my petal. I know you can't really see it at the moment, but you will see it in a second when I darken it up. There's my petal. That's about halfway. So if I come down about a third, this is where this curve is going to be roughly. The other one is layered behind. And it's much more of a circular shape. If you imagine where the petal's going to come probably down to here, and then to there, and then to there. So if I take it, this is where it's coming down to. That's the circular shape. So about halfway for this one. And it's much more of a V shape than a curve. The next thing I'm going to do is look at where these lines are coming out from each petal in relation to that centre point. So here's my centre point. This is coming out slightly curved here. This one follows the curve outwards. This one goes almost straight up to one corner. This one same, about 2 o'clock-ish. The vertical one is actually not straight, it curves that way a little bit and it goes right up to the top there. And then this one is actually, because what this petal is underlapping this one actually comes up and down. So it's coming up at sort of 2:30 and then it folds back down to about 4 o'clock. So 2:30 would be about there, and then it folds right down to 4 o'clock. This one, in relation to this point here, this comes straight down. That one goes straight up. That one is about 10:30, and then it rounds off at the end. This one, about slightly curved, about 8 o'clock. This one, almost the same curve as this one, but slightly further out. So I'm just going to watch this curve. I'm going to trace my eye across this curve as I draw this one. So we end up with the same curve. And then this one, straight up and then bent at the end, about 2 o'clock. Okay, now all we've got to do is figure out how big the petals are. So I'm looking for, instead of the line down the middle of the petal, I'm looking for this line here that's joining the petals together or separating the petals. So this one It's about there. This one is about there. These two actually come in a V. So this one is coming down and then this one comes back up that way. This one comes up and then back down like that. And then this one is coming out here. Same with these. The middle part, that's a curve there. That's a kind of a S bend here. This is a curve here and a curve back up there. This is doing the same as this one, so same S bend here. And then this one is just coming around like that. Now we do the outside of the petals. We've already got our circle that tells us how big the flower's going to be. So we don't need to measure it. We can just put the flowers in. So the edge of the petals is about there. This petal is, let's see, there's the circle and it comes down and points back and then it goes back up that way. This one comes kind of a bendy bit. This one's kind of straight. This one is a whole curve. So this one, we're going to take it kind of that way. And this one is more of a point like that. And guess what? Now all we've got to do is join the dots. So some of these are overlapping. So where it's overlapping, I'm not going to draw it. I'm going to take it from that point upwards. Let's draw this one in first. And then let's draw this one down. It's coming almost straight down, but I'm just going to bend it in a slightly at the end. Same for these. So we've got this one coming down there. This one has a ripply edge. This one is straight but off center. This one is curved like that one is, and this one is slightly off, but you can see if it was going up, it would be kind of a curve like that. So this is going to be based on this line here, it would probably be there. There we go. It's a watercolour pencil, it'll disappear when we paint over it, so I'm not worried. Does this face look worried? Absolutely not. And then we join the dots. So here's the curve. Here's the curve. Oops, that's sticking to my arm. This one is on top. This one is a little bit ruffled. Goes up in there and you can see the curl underneath. This one you can't actually see the bottom of the petal, you can just see it go down behind this one and then down behind this one. I think I'm going to make this one a little bit wider because it's a bit of a flatter petal. I think I haven't made this one wide enough either. There we go, that's better. So then we don't have to mess about with, oh, is there a bit peeking through here? We can just assume that's all petal. This one is coming down here, and again there's a little bit of petal underneath we can see. This S curve is going up here, and there's another loop of petal up here. This part is going, let's curve that out a bit like that. This is off the thing, so I'm just having to make this one up. This one is coming down and into here, and then this one, this side, is coming down There's actually a stamen stuck right in the middle, but I think it comes down mostly straight. I missed a couple of petals down here. So this is coming round here. This is coming round here. This S bend goes up and down and back up, and there's a petal underneath there that you can see. And then this one comes out from underneath. So this one, there's a gap here. And then it comes out and around and down. And this comes out and around and down and kind of rounds off at the end like that. There we go. And that's how you draw flowers without ending up with that. Draw what you see, not what you think you see. Watercolour pencils don't erase, by the way. I'm just lifting it a little bit so I don't confuse myself. All right. So I can paint all of this in orange, and I can do the back in all kind of black and green. What I might do is paint the green in and then just paint the rest of it black, so I don't have to deal with all the show through. But let's do the flowers. Let's concentrate on the flowers, shall we? Where are my paints? Did I get my paints out and then put them away again? I did. Yes, I did. So, what colours are we going to need? I think we're going to need deep yellow for those lighter sections. I think we're going to need... what's this colour exactly? This is a weird colour. This Jaune Brilliant. It's kind of an orangey peachy colour. That, I might need that for the highlights, because the highlights, you think highlights are white, but nah, highlights are not always white. Highlights are relative. And I'm gonna need an orange. I don't think I've got an orange, but I can mix an orange. Let me just double check. Do have an orange. Oh, we do have an orange. There we go. And it's exactly the right colour. Cool. The flowers are kind of a muddy green. So we don't want blue green. We want to make a muddy green. So that's going to be that colour and that colour with maybe a bit of yellow ochre or a bit of sienna and or. Nope, that's burnt umber. I want, sorry, not sienna, sepia. Sepia is a really good mixing colour in these, if you want to make a darker colour. It darkens it without muting it out. So you keep the vibrancy of the colour, but you make a darker version. I tested it, I've tried it, I know it works. That bright orange might actually be useful for a change, yeah. But this is from the 18 set of student grade acrylic gouache. They work very differently to the proper ones. The proper ones are a delight to use. These are really nice to use. I mean, Holbein, everything Holbein is good. It's like pizza, even bad pizza is good. But these feel absolutely great until you work with these and you realise how much better those are. But these are only like 12mm tubes. I got 18 of these for 30 quid on Jackson's. Link down below to get 10% off your first order if you haven't signed up on Jackson's. Yeah. See, I would never use this colour straight. If I wouldn't buy this colour and say, oh, I need this colour. I would have a deep yellow and a bright red and I would mix them to make orange. because I don't use orange that often. But on this occasion, the orange is actually going to be useful. And because this is Acryla gouache and it won't lift when I get it wet over the top, because these dry like matte acrylics. They don't lift when you put them down. Whereas regular gouache, if you go over it and you can blend it into the lower layers. You can't do that with these. So for this, I'm going to just slather this orange all over and go from there. But I'm not going to just fill it in. I'm going to paint individual petals so that I can still see from the brush marks where the petals are. Now, I normally paint out of the tubes, but this is going to take a little while, so I'm going to put some out on my palette so I don't dry up what's in the tube, because these dry really fast. Put a little bit of water on it and let's go. Start at the top and work your way down. So I'm gonna just, oh, this is the perfect orange for these flowers. Perfect orange. We can work out where lights and darks go later. I'm just going to paint the base layer in. And in order to give that a chance to dry, I'm going to do every other petal as I go down. And then I'll be able to see my brush strokes. So where there's darker colour here, I'm going to need to layer it up a little bit. I mean, this is alcohol marker on the back, so eventually it will come through anyway. The only way to guarantee that alcohol marker is not going to bleed through anything you put on is to either not use alcohol in your book or put it on marker paper and then stick it in your book, or stick something else over the back of this page and paint on that. But this is a sketchbook, I don't care. If I really like the way this comes out, I will scan it straight away while it's still fresh. And that way, if I come back to it in 3 or 4 years and all the alcohol ink has seeped through the paint, it won't matter. Usually putting acrylic, I mean, I'm used to using chalk acrylics in my sketchbooks because they don't stick to each other. Is there a gap in that one? Yeah, there is. I use chalk acrylics because they don't stick together when you close the book and you don't have to worry about varnishing them or fixing them or anything. And 2 layers of that, usually it won't come through 2 layers of acrylic, but I don't know if Acryla gouache works the same way. Hey Katie, I will have to come back to this in like a year and a half or something, 18 months, as and when I remember, and see if it's bled through. It's a bit more time than I'm willing to commit to this project. Bonus points if you know where that quote's from, because that's an oddball quote, that is. You gotta be a real nerd to know where that quote comes from. I said up and down in just the right rhythm for you to get Vengabus in your head. Vengabus. Don't know what you're talking about. I assume it's it's music of some sort, maybe? If it's stuck in your head. The only song I can think of that's up and down is that up and down and up, up and down. That's the only one I can think of offhand. It's not my genre. I'm a gothic rock chick, okay? Don't do that kind of music. Do they have a bit of a choral hint to them? Yeah, they do kind of have a choral hint. Yeah. We'll see what happens with the... That's one of the reasons why I picked out that June Brilliant. It's jaune. It's a French word, but it's just easier to call it June. This one, this weird peachy kind of colour. Because this with the orange will make a kind of a corally colour, and I can add a little bit of red or magenta to it if I wanted to make it a bit pinker. But I don't want to go too pink, so I'll start off with that kind of peachy colour first, and then we'll figure out what we're doing after. Venga bus. Do you mean Venga boys? I just made that connection. Did you get typoed by YouTube into putting Venga bus instead of Venga boys? Late 90s, early noughts. Oh, that was a bit late for me. I'm more familiar with the kind of music that was like the house music, was it? Ibiza type stuff. Finger Boys. That kind of stuff. Oh, that's who you meant. Oh, okay. Finger Boys I thought was earlier than that, but I'll take your word for it. This petal looks a little bit odd, so I'm going to just make a break in it there so it doesn't take up quite so much room. It's a bit wide. There you go. That was the perfect amount of paint for doing those petals. Hi, baby. Miss Maddie's here. Hi, Miss Maddie. How you doing, Bubs? How you doing? Hello. Hi. How you doing? She's good. She's good. She says she's good. Boys in the Band bus song. Venga bus is coming and everybody's jumping. Now I can't get anything in my head because right now I've got do 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 going around my head. Repeat. And then at some point for no reason it goes do 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 do, and then it starts again. It's music in my head is very weird. I don't think those are even the same song. They might be the same song, like two different sections of the same song, but oh, is that the one? Oh, okay. I hate you. Thanks for putting that in my head. That's going to be playing in my head till about 4 a.m. now. I hate you. I'm going to have to play Metallica later. I'm going to have to go get some Master of Puppets going. Hi, Miss Maddie. What's the matter? Oh, it's raining. It started raining, my love. You had to come in from the garden. I'm sorry. She's been sat out on my sun chair all day. Poor baby. It's raining. Not fair. Not fair. You're a good girl. Go lie on the sofa if you want to. Mama won't be long. I can't believe that A, that's all the same song, and B, that's the song you were talking about. Trying to play Slipknot in your head to get rid of it. Yeah, please. Let's have some Slipknot. Oh, I can feel SpongeBob SquarePants coming. No! No, that would be worse. That would be worse. Not. God damn it. This is not funny. I don't even watch SpongeBob SquarePants. Now I've got Slipknot singing SpongeBob SquarePants in my head. You might think that that's an upgrade from the Venga Boys, but it's not. So it looks like these Acryla paints are covering pretty much everything except the very dark purple. The very darks aren't going to happen in one layer, but that's okay. Like I said, it's my sketchbook. I don't really care if there's colour coming through from the other page. No, it's still SpongeBob SquarePants. For anyone who's confused, Slipknot are well known for playing SpongeBob SquarePants to the crowd. And everybody sings along because it's a very popular tune. If I can get my brain to a part where it gets to the end, and I can do the SpongeBob SquarePants, then I'll actually, the earworm will be done, because I'll have got to the end of the song. But if it's stuck in a loop, it's not going away anytime soon. Earworms, gotta love them. Now my brain's trying to remember what the one I had stuck in my head the other day was, and I don't want that one back. So can we stop, please? Dear squirrels, we do not need to know what our last earworm was. It's not necessary. Ooh, heavy rain. Okay, that was unnecessary. My squirrels are not playing fair today. My squirrels just went SpongeBob SquarePants, boom, 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 boom. No! Make it stop! You thought it might push out if you typed some decent lyrics in there. No. Because my brain's already made the association. I'll just read the lyrics, finish the song, and then go back into SpongeBob SquarePants. And then apparently straight back into the Venga Boys. Ooh, that's some heavy rain. Hopefully my yard isn't flooding again. My yard flooded the other day because the drain was blocked with something. But I cleared it out, so hopefully it doesn't block today. Ooh, it's cooling the air rather nicely. I like this. Alright, let's use the rest of this just to try and cover up these bits a bit more. Yeah, we're going to need more for that bit. It's okay, Tyler. I will think of some revenge and pass it back to you on Patreon tomorrow. I will think of a really good one for you. Trickle. Okay, let that dry a minute. So what's everybody doing while you're watching? You painting along? I need a smaller brush. Let's go with this one. Working on a score. Original or a game score? Dossing with an 18 plus beverage. Game score. Commission. Oh, cool. That's awesome. Alright, I want these dark areas. But I don't want... I want... There's two different areas of dark. There's these areas on the petals. And then these super dark areas of the stamen and... Can't remember. And then the centerpiece. So I've got two different levels of dark I need to do. I need a dark tone, which I'll probably just use this one, to be honest. So then I need to take a little bit of this, mix it with a bit of this. There we go. Keeps its vibrancy, but it's a darker orange. Gonna need some more of that. And sepia is a very overpowering colour, so you don't need a lot of it. These are very hard-edged shadows because it's bright sunshine. So I'm just going to go straight in and paint them in where I see them. This one actually blends out, so it starts off a little bit darker And here and then it gradually blends out at the top. Might just about have enough paint. And then more water, make a wash. There we go. One. Oh, I only need a little bit more because the other one doesn't have as much dark on it. Always the way. Is 1 PM too early to drink? Nah, pub's open soon. Pubs open at 3, don't they, these days? So this is a very slightly lighter orange on this one. There we go. Okay, so we've got this one. Maddie, what are you doing? You digging a tunnel? Oh, is that right? Okay. Okay, a little bit of shadow there. Dog hair. Maddie, why are we crying, my love? Do we even know? I don't think we do. They opened before that. 11 AM? Yeah, you're nearer London though. I think ours are open at 3 on weekdays, unless they serve food. If they serve food, they're open at ridiculous time in the morning. But your general pub up here opens at 3, except on a Saturday when it seems to open at like 5 AM. Assuming it closed on Friday night. Okay. Do I want that one or do I want the deep yellow? How dark is the deep yellow? Not very dark. I think I might stick with the yellow ochre and use this as a highlight in a couple of places. This will work better. Ugh. Forgot about that, just assumed it's because Essex is historically trashy. Well, yeah. There is that. A root beer. Woof. Careful. Wait, is your root beer alcoholic? Our root beer here is a soft drink. Assuming you can get it. They used to do it in McDonald's. I loved McDonald's root beer and they don't do it anymore. I think they stopped doing it like 25 years ago actually. It tasted like those twisted candy things that you used to get that were like barley, orange barley, twisted candies, you know, the cushions. Maddie, leave it. Okay. Start putting some of these highlights on here. So this has got a line here. A lot of these are straight lines on one side and then feathered on the other. So I'm going to do a straight line and then I'm going to feather it out a little bit. You've got to be quite quick because this stuff dries so fast, especially sat next to an open window. A bit of a highlight coming down here. That could do with mixing with some orange, actually. See if any of this is still viable. Not really. Okay, so this has a stripe there, and there's a big stripe coming down here next to it. Okie dokie. Hi, Miss Maddie. Hello. I see you. Hi. What's up? Oh, really? Is that right? How very dare they? What a terrible time to be alive. Whoops. I went a bit too thick with that one. I'll have to make that the line on this side now. Don't think it'll matter much. Wherever the heaviest shadows are, like here, where you've got really sharp, dense shadows, that means you've got really harsh sunlight. So around the shadows, you're going to have brighter highlights because it's stronger sun, which gives you your contrast between your light and dark. Miss Maddie! Goodness me, what's the matter with you? Goodness me, what's the matter? Oh, your buddy's gone in. Is that what's up with you? She's made friends with the dogs next door and they sit out in the garden and peer at each other through the fence. No, the door's shut, Miss Maddie. She was not coming out if the door's shut. You know that. Goodness me, huffing like a teenager. Can you hear her in the background here? I know, Miss Maddie. I hear you. Goodness me. I know. Bobsy. Come on now. No, settle down. There's a good girl. Nelly will be out in a minute. Okay. Oof. Yeah, hello. Did an introduction spread for your Oracle deck. Came with the deck. Was nice, but then you pulled a card for guidance. Like, what do you have to say right now? And the card called me out. Yeah. That's your deck basically saying, girl, you're asking the wrong questions. Maddie! Hey! Come on, baby. Settle. There's not going to be any thunder today. It's okay. Settle down. There's a good girl. Alrighty. Let's get these highlights in. trying to cut in the highlights around where the edge of the petals are, where they're overlapping. So like this one is overlapping. I'm trying to get a hard edge on the highlight to show where that petal comes up and comes round. It's not easy to do. You have to add some pencil to really get that to pop. Pelican, hey! Miss Maddie! Why are we crying, Miss Maddie? Oh, I missed. Oh no, I missed this one. Here we go. I missed this one the last time as well, apparently. Fortunately, there's not a lot of highlight on this one, and what there is very, very bright. Hey! What's the matter? Come on, settle down. Come and sit under here with Mum. Come on. Come and sit under here. Okay. Maddie! What's wrong with you? Stop it. Okay. Ooh. Oh, it's that time of day. I really like the dry brushing effects you can get with these acrylic gouache. Squint. Can you see any areas where you need to add some more highlights? I can. There we go. Down here we've got a little section in there where the sun is obviously catching this one underneath there. Okay, got all that. That bit, got that bit, got that bit, got that bit. Yep. We're getting there. We're getting there. Miss Maddie, what are you doing? Anybody painting along today, or are you just sitting? Are you all just sitting watching, drinking adult beverages? I mean, not that I blame you, you know, but. Hey, Bubsy, I hear you. Hi. hello. How you doing? Oh, good girl. Miss Maddie says hello. There you go, my love. How's that? Is that better? Yeah? Needed your brain scratched. Hey? There you go. Yeah, you're a good girl, I know. I know. You're such a good girl. Okay. Ugh. Hi. What? Time are we on? Oh, we're doing good time. Yes, we are. Okay, so this time I'm going to use... Actually, I might use my brown pen just to sketch in. Another use for this paper with the sticky back stuff on it. You can use the back as scribble paper for your ballpoints. Okay, let's put in where the that's I literally looked around my desk for my phone. It's bugging me. What's it called? What's it called? Oh, right, I was right. Okay. So this whole thing, like the bit and that, is the stamen. The head is the anther and the bottom is the filament. So this part is the filament and this part is the anther. Learn something new every day. But I was right, it's a stamen. Okay. Never cease to surprise myself. Okay, I need more angle so I can avoid the glare off the light. Oh, there we go. If I do that, I can see what I'm doing and you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to put these fuzzy things in where they need to be. And about the size that they need to be. Oh, I missed a big shadow there. I missed a big shadow on this. Let's grab a pencil. There should be a big shadow there. And there should be a big shadow there, which makes sense because there's a really harsh highlight. So there you go. Okay, and then we've got the break in the petals down here. So we've got this petal coming there. And then this petal is coming down. And then we've got kind of a W web type shape, a webbed foot type shape, and then we've got a curve there. That goes up to there. This is coming back down here. So all of that is going to be dark. I'm just going to fill it all with sepia, that's why I'm doing it with a ballpoint pen, so I can see where I'm going to go. It's just easier to rough it in first. So we're going to have a one there, a kind of a strange triangular pointy one. We've We've got one there that comes off the petal. We've got one there, big fat one, mushroom shaped type one. We've got another kind of there-ish. Okay, and then here we've got this area here. Which, because it's on this side, there's actually enough light to put green in there. Same as this area up here, there's enough light to put green in it. Because you're seeing the light shine on the green behind the foliage. This bit is just dark in here. And I'm going to just very slightly edge in that petal just so I can see where the edge of it is. So that's going to be green, and we've got a dark stripe here and a dark web thing there and a dark cast shadow here, which I'm assuming is this petal. Coming down to that. And we've got more web shapes up there. Hi, Miss Maddie. We've got another area where there's no petal, but you can't see the green. You can only see black. Well, you can kind of see green, but it looks more brownish to me. So I'm going to just paint this area in brown. It's hard to see which bit is the dark of the flower and which is the dark of the green behind. So those white areas are going to be green, and everything else is going to be the dark sepia. Started work at 7 and got home when this was starting. Ooh, 7 till 5, that's a long day. Maddie! Please! What are you doing? Okay, I need a round brush for this bit. With a little bit more precision. Hey! Settle, please. Settle. Good girl. Yes, settle in your bed. You can sit on the sofa if you want to, or you can come and sit under here with me. Do you want to come and sit under the table with Mummy? Come on then. Sit under the table with Mummy then. Sit under there. Settle down. Sit on your cushion. Good girl. Settle down. Settle down. Good girl. There you go. She doesn't like this weather where it can't decide whether it's going to be hot and sunny or hot and rainy or thundery. This round brush, because I use it, it's kind of a scrubby brush, so it's a bit rough around the edges, but it's perfect for doing these little, what did we say they were called? Anthers. Yeah, because they're like fuzzy. Like a fuzzy beard kind of texture. So I'm not getting too precise a point on it or anything, they actually look fluffy. And I'm putting these in first because it'd be easier to join from here to the centre than it will be to join from the centre up to there and then try and position these afterwards. Connect the dots is always easier than precision lines. Okay, so this part is this is all dark in here. Can't really tell if it's green or brown. Might put little dots of green over it later. Must sit up when painting. I get closer and closer to the desk the more detail I'm doing. I forget that I can raise my desk. There we go. One tiger lily. Mwah. Ha, 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 ha. So the shadows and dark bits and anthers and things on this part look a lot sharper and slightly bigger when you're drawing two flowers like this. It's tempted to do them both exactly the same, but you think about the size of a lily. Lilies are what, 4 to 6 inches across. So this is 4 to 6 inches. In fact, these are pretty much life size actually. Maybe even a little bit small for life size. So if that's 4 to 6 inches, then between there and there is 4 to 6 inches. So these are going to look smaller. Even though it doesn't show on a photo, your actual eyes would look at it and go, oh, those are smaller because that one's further away. These cows are small. These cows are far away. I still don't get it, Ted. Maddie, stop. Ooh, that shadow might be a little bit dark. Might have to lighten that up a tiny bit. Okay, and then to give some extra contrast to the shadows on the petals here, I'm going to mix what's left of this with some yellow ochre, which is the shadow colour I mixed with orange. This time I'm going to mix it with the sepia. Which will give us a sort of almost like a raw umber green kind of colour, like a chrome green. It's very, very desaturated, but with a warm colour on the flower. You want your shadows to be a complementary colour, so with orange, green is a really good. That's not dark enough. I want a bit more sepia. Green is a good shadow colour for orange. That's better. I'm only putting this on the darkest shadows, so only the shadows where it's next to a really shiny highlight, or on the edges of these flowers where they curve away from the sun. because the shadows on here aren't as dark because the sun's coming down at an angle across them, whereas these are directly opposite the sun and the sun is coming through another part of the petal. So these areas are going to be darker. Do I need any on the top one? Up here, just a tiny bit. Again, just where it's curving away from the light. And this one where it's coming through this petal. Down in here, blended to this. Did I just get that all over my watch? No. Okay. Blend that into there as well. And then I'm going to put a hard line along here where that petal is, because that's where the petal overlaps. But blend out the rest. Same here, hard line, but blend it out on the other side. This also is a really hard line here, so we'll blend that in. I'm just going to add a little bit around the edge of this petal and then smudge it out. Just so it gives a little cast shadow, even though there's not a cast shadow in the photo. You kind of need the cast shadow just to add the structure that your eyes would see if you were looking at it. Same here, this is casting a shadow on the leaf below. And your eyes would pick that up, but the photo doesn't. You know that there's a cast shadow there because there's a highlight. So the sun is coming right down on this quite hard. So you know that this is all going to be quite dark here. There's going to be areas of darkness here where the light is. Here. And there probably wouldn't be any here, but I'm going to put it there anyway because this petal is folding that way, so it's doing the same as those petals. So we can get away with it. Now this one, this petal is in full sunlight, so you're not really getting the same effect. But I do want to add a little bit on this side where this petal is going that way. I'm going to add a little bit here. Just following the lines that I put in with my ballpoint pen. Just very, very lightly, just to give the illusion of an edge. I'm not literally painting the edge of the flower, I'm just pretending to paint the edge of the flower. And then this is going to be blended down. Same here. I'm going to blend into this but not out, because that is a really harsh shadow. This is a blended shadow. And this shadow, this flower, this petal is on top of that one. So actually I can get away with putting a very, very thin line, because this is shadowed as well. Just a very, very, very thin suggestion of a line. See, now it looks like this flower, this petal is on top of this one, but this edge here is a little harsh. So I'm going to see if I can pick up some of this yellow. There's not much. It's still a little bit wet, but not very. And just kind of blend that out to a point. There we go, that's better. Alrighty. Anything else? I think I need to just add a tiny little bit here, just to show the edge of that. Oh, that's on top, that's a stamen, that's okay. This is going to be, again, just a tiny bit. This has got a harsh edge, so I don't really need to do that. But I can add just a little contrast in here, just to make that highlight pop. Okay. Oops. Throw water all over my desk. Next. Oh, actually, I could use the brown for the filaments. Is that what they called them? The filaments, the bits connecting the anthers to the centre of the flower, because that'll help make them stand out, because Bic ballpoints are oil based, so the colour of a Bic ballpoint will always rise to the surface through other paint. Sometimes it takes a long time, but it will always happen. Okay, so let's see, where are our filaments? I'm going to start at the front and work back, that way I can have these lying on top, so I can draw the noodles. So this one's going in here. That one comes across there like that. This one, I've missed one, there's one there. You can't see it because it's off the edge of the petal. Okay. So this is coming down like this. I'm trying to keep these very, very thin. That way I can paint over them really easily. That one comes down there, follows that line down because that is the cast line for that. And then it tucks in behind that one. This one is coming straight down, but it's got a funny thing at the end here. And it's sliding right in behind that one. And then this one up here comes around the side of this, and it also disappears behind there. Okay. Ew, got paint all over my pencils. Not good. I'm probably going to have to pull the sepia out again later, so I'm just going to use what I've got here of this darkish mixture that's still usable, and just slap that one in. It's not as dark as the others, but I don't think anybody would notice unless they were actually watching the stream and literally heard me say it's not as dark. But also, do I care? Not really. But I also might need to use the sepia again over this side. I'm thinking mostly to get rid of this purple on this side. So I might have to do a sepia shadow of the lilies onto the greenery behind. see, that's what I'm thinking. Because the shadows actually underneath the lilies here, whoops, are actually really strong shadows. So I could make the most of that. Woof! Time for a stretch. I've missed a shadow. I've missed a shadow. Here we go. I've missed a shadow. There we go. That's better. I love these cast shadows where they look lighter than the dark shadows where there's no sun, because the sun is coming through the petal. I really like that effect. I might darken that up a little bit, or at least darken up the edge, make it a little bit of a harsher edge. But I can do that with pencil. Acryla gouache, if you try and use no, I'm not going to try and specify, because some work and some don't. Specific types of pencils will work over these and others won't. Faber-Castells, you will not get Faber-Castells to show up on these unless it's a really dark colour over a light colour. But Prismacolors are actually quite good. You can't get high contrast, so you can't put like white over dark and get a high contrast, but you can blend colours together quite successfully. But actually the best cut pencils I've found are watercolour pencils. You don't water down the pencil afterwards. I mean, you can, but I don't. I just blend it out with a watercolour pencil and it seems to work really well. So, little tip there for you. It does, however, because watercolour pencils are so much softer, it does wear down your pencils really badly. Neocolor 2s work really well over this as well, if you were wondering. Right, let's draw these ones in. So this one has a really odd skinny head coming down this shadow, and then it goes a little bit thicker at the bottom. So you can see more detail on these because they're closer. I have to zoom in a little bit. Where's this one going? This one goes like this and down the front here. He's also skinnier at the top than at the bottom. Oh, I'm going to paint over that lovely highlight if I do that. Let's bring it this side. There we go. I don't know where that one's going. This one also is really skinny at the top and it dives right back in behind this and disappears. I've missed one here as well. This is like this is odd. It's like these things are like caterpillar shaped, but there's one here that because of the angle of it, you're not seeing that or that, you're seeing that. So it looks a really weird shape and I missed it. So there's one here that's like it's a dot almost, because you're looking at it that perspective instead of like that. Draw what you see, not what you think you see. Just because you know that certain things are that shape. It's like when you draw the wheels on a car. You know the tyres on a car are round. You know that the thickness of the tyre from one side to the other is the same width all the way round on all four tyres, but you're still going to draw some of the tyres elliptical because they don't look circular unless you're looking at them right in front of the hubcap. You know, if you're changing the tyre, then it looks circular. If you're in any other position, it doesn't look circular. Okay, so this one, actually, because of the way it's drawn, That's kind of triangular, and then this comes down on either side quite thickly. How strange. But this one is very thin, and it goes right up into the stamen there. So this one is at that angle, but that one is at that angle. So you can see the filament coming up there. I love drawing flowers. They're so interesting. They do such weird and wonderful things. I've got a whole, if you follow me on Pinterest, I've got a whole Pinterest board called Poisons. And it's all poisonous plants, exotic plants, weird looking plants, and black plants. It started off as just poisonous plants, but I've gone into a whole deep dive into jungle flora and fauna where there's like things that look like hummingbirds and things that look like dolphins and strange flowers that look like they've come straight out of the Voynich manuscript. It's amazing. I'm very into weird flowers at the moment. And then this one is coming down to join that, but it comes down here and comes down this side here. Miss Maddie! Goodness heckin' me, what noise are you making there? Hi. What heckin' noise? Yeah, I know. I know. Now, because I need very, very, very thin lines, and I don't have very, very, very steady hands, I'm going to cheat. Or, as we say on this side of the screen, I'm going to use mixed media. Ohuhu. Oh, this isn't an Ohuhu one. This is just a cheap one. These are bullet nibs. I've got the Ohuhu ones because I like the colour range better. These are just like a pack of 6 that I bought that are the same thing. They're like Poscas, but you don't have to pump the nibs. They're bullet nibs. However, I did find, although it says you don't need to shake them, if you do shake them, you get the paint in the pen mixed up again. It's like with Ecolines and watercolour brush pens. You don't need to shake them, but it's better to, because they settle over time. So I can use this to draw in the stamens here. It's not quite popping enough, but I think what I'll probably do is come back in. I've got like a really bright orange ballpoint, so I might come back in with an orange ballpoint and just define the edges. Okay, this one is doing the same as this one, so this is coming down like this. Let me try the Ohuhu orange. It's a little bit, the paint consistency in the Ohuhu ones is a little bit better. Let me grab my Ohuhu orange. I should have known that one wouldn't be any good. I went through all these ones with washi tape on are ones that the colour is a lot lighter and paler than it looks. Like this one is a really pale creamy colour. I should have known this orange wasn't going to be dark enough because it's got a bit of washi tape on. But do I take any notice of that? No, I don't. Because where would be the fun in that? So I got a bright orange and I got dark orange. Let's see which one is going to work better. I got this one. See, the lid looks the same colour, but this is the colour I was after. There we go, that's better. This is the colour I wanted. It's not showing up on screen at the moment because it's not dry. When it goes matte, you'll be able to see it better. I love these because they're bullet tips. Apparently, Artex has brought out a set of brush marker types, and they're this felt tip type brush marker rather than real brush, which is what I prefer. I'm not good with real brush, but I like a pointed tip on my pens. So I might look at getting some of those. I'm on a no spend at the moment, so it won't be anytime soon, but at some point keep your eye out for a sketchbook session using them, because this is blending in a little bit too much on this side, so I'm going to use this darker orange over here. There we go, that's better. Yeah, there we go. A little bit of trial and error. Well, you still can't see them, but trust me, it looks better. This is more of a corally orange. So it's a little bit pinker hue, and it's standing out against the yellowy orange tones a bit better. Okay. Hi, Miss Maddie. We got this big, thick, chunky one here. Hi, what's up? Why do you cry, my darling? Goodness hecking me! Goodness the heck! What is up with you? Do we need a belly rub? Belly rubs for Maddie. Belly rubs for Maddie. Belly rubs for Maddie. Belly rubs for Maddie. There. Good? Yeah, so if you're watching this on replay, leave a comment, say hello, don't forget to give a thumbs up and follow for more. I do this every week. At least 2 hours of live sketching. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but that's the reality. Okay, and then because I'm lazy and I can't be bothered to get the dark colour out again right now, I'm just going to colour that one in that colour. That'll do. I've got to get the dark colour out again in a minute to do this side, but just it's not worth opening the tube just to do that tiny little bit, so it can wait. Now my orange ballpoint. Oh no, did I put that down on the paint? Oh, thank God. The paint dried really fast and I did not get it all over my... This dried really fast and I have not got it all over my pens. Oh dear. This orange, this is one of the big highlighters. There's an orange and a yellow, and there's a really bright pink that you can use as a highlighter. So I'm going to use this against that, see if it'll stand out enough. I'm not sure if it will. I might have to use the dark colour, but we'll see. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. You just got to try it and see. There's nothing we're doing right now that we can't fix if it goes horribly wrong. Now, I don't know about you, but to me on camera that looks like it stands out a bit better. What do you think? Do you think that one stands out better now than these? I think it does. I think it's got more of a rounded feeling to it now. Let's try the others, shall we? If all else fails, we'll go back in with the brown. But I think this orange is giving it just enough oomph for what we need. You know what I might do is actually just add a bit of brown shadow on one side of these. Maddie! because these things are kind of translucent. The sun kind of shines through them, but they still have a darker edge on one side. So that one might help as well. But this is certainly helping to add a bit of dimension to them. It's amazing how just putting a line with a ballpoint pen around something can make it stand out so much more. So let me grab the brown, and since the sunlight is coming really strongly from this side, I'm only going to do it on, you know, like when you're colouring letters, bottom left of a letter. So I'm only doing this one towards the bottom. This one, that will cast a shadow there, and then this one will get a shadow coming down here because of the stamen in front. This one will get a little bit of a shadow on here at the bottom, but not up here at the top. That one needs to be on top of there, so we need to round that out a bit. This is coming down. Like that. And then this one I still feel like they could be a bit punchier. Let's see. What if we use... Oh, now here's an idea. I've got a yellow highlighter. What if we do yellow opposite the brown? Will that help make them look a little bit more translucent? Or have we just got the wrong colour of orange, maybe? Maybe we need a pencil. Well, that's helping a little bit. I mean, you can definitely see these where you can't see these really. So that's definitely helped a little bit. I might come back in with a yellow pencil. So with these ones, instead of doing an orange outline, I'm just going to do the brown and yellow, because there's no point doing orange if we're going to colour it over with something else. Sit up. My optician has made my glasses so that they don't work up close. Like if I've got something here where people would normally hold a book to read, I can't see it. She's deliberately set it so that it's that far away. So ironically, I'm coming closer to try and see what I'm doing, and the closer I get, the less I can see, because my glasses don't work that close. They're not reading glasses, they're desk glasses. Because it forces me to sit up straight instead of sitting with my nose on the table. But it's such a natural reaction. If you can't see what you're doing, you're getting closer, right? With me, I have to sit back if I can't see what I'm doing, which is, it takes a little while to get used to it. Bit on there, a bit to define where those are, and then let's come in on the opposite, so the top right, with this yellow to kind of give it a bit of oomph on that side. This needs to be up here. I'll have to do that with a bit of pencil. I missed it with paint. I still might hit it with a yellow pencil, you know. It looks okay, but it just doesn't have enough oomph. That's not a watercolour pencil. Where's my yellow watercolour? Oh, I don't have a yellow. Let's use a Prismacolor. This should be about the right colour. There we go. Let's try going over this a bit. Over the yellow ballpoint. I mean, if all else fails, I'll just go over it with yellow paint, you know. But I'd like to try and get that translucent orange. I mean, it's not bad. Can get it going up into there now. It's a bit better. I still would like a bit more punch to it, but I'm kind of getting bored with that bit now. So I'll come back to that bit. I'll come back to that later. Let's do the dark bit we need around this area. So I'm not going to go crazy with this. I'm just going to put in some jagged kind of shadow bits. And the idea is to fill in these areas that have got really heavy staining, especially where this purple is, because that purple doesn't cover very well. So I'm going to basically kind of follow the shape of the flowers, just to kind of put in a dark shadow underneath. There, and then just fill those shadows in. That will just cover over that purple. Ooh, might need more paint. Severely underestimated how much paint I was going to need there, didn't we? Okay. Going to do it from the tube, it's probably easier. The artist grade ones don't dry as quickly, so I'm not so worried about them drying out in the tube. Also, if you keep your paint squeezed so that it's at the lid of the tube, then you're not getting air into the tube. You're only getting the top surface of that paint wet. Dry, sorry. And you can take that off before you then suck it back into the tube. Okay, oops, bit too much paint there, but we're going to use it, so it's fine. I can come back in after and put cast shadows where these, not cast shadows, blended areas. Once I do the green around the outside, I can come back in with some more of this dark and just feather it out over the green, so it won't be such a harsh shadow. Contrary-wise, I could feather the green into the brown, which actually might work better. I might try that. Dark area in here. Just going to cover up that fuzzy, but that's okay, we can pick it out with a pencil later. It's the same colour, so I can actually paint over it. Oh, my ear just went funny. Oh, that's weird. Let's put in this one and this one. Okay. I'm gonna make this a bit bigger, and then I can blend the green in over it. But I want to keep the shape of the flowers coming down. I think I need one just here to indicate this. This one up here. Okay. Round this area off. Blend the green into this bit. Yeah, that works. I'm gradually sliding off my chair. I feel like my chair's sliding backwards and I don't know why. They're coming out okay. From the hot mess that they started out as, they do come out okay. The one thing about Acryla gouache is, although it looks really bright when you're looking at it, on camera, because it's matte, it doesn't look as bright. So in real life, it actually looks a lot brighter. It's got a lot more colour to it. But again, you know, if I want to like punch up the colour a bit, I can just grab a watercolour pencil and come in and punch up the colour a bit. Hi baby. Hello, how you do? Hi hi. Hello, how you do? Hi hi. Now, with the green, I'm actually going to do more of a wash. So I'm going to add a lot more water to this than paint. Might need a little bit more than that. So a nice wet brush and some extra water. To make this much more of a a wash than just a... See, I can cover a much bigger area in a much quicker amount of time. Cutting around these flowers, and then I can do the darker greens in around the brown and where the petal is in a thicker consistency. I'm getting little bits of brown on the edge of my flowers because orange and green are complementary colours, so, well, this orange and this green are, so I'm getting kind of a browny colour. But that's okay, doesn't matter. Ooh, that brown's not quite dry. So I'm going to put some texture into this background with my brush strokes, just so that it doesn't look completely flat. There we go. Where's my green paint gone? Where did it go? Where did I put it? There it is. A bit more to do the other side. More water. Let's pop this under here so I can go off the edge of the page if I need to. Cutting around these flowers. Probably only do wash on this side because this is where the sunlight is catching, so just going to put plenty of paint down and just let it pool as it will. The green really makes the orange pop, doesn't it? If you put a kind of a purpley, ideally that spectrum violet that I love, into the shadows, that'll really make it pop, because then you've got your three colours together, your three secondary colours together. Secondary, tertiary colours. No secondary colours, I was right the first time. Brain! Brain! Hello! Brain is not playing. It is, however, reminding me not to forget about the little white bits in the middle of the flowers. Thank you for that, Brain. So as it's drying, you can see it's getting a really nice texture in it. And then these bits where I've dry brushed the brown, you'll get to see the green through the brown. Pick up where there's excess and take it down to other places where it's a bit thinner. This is pooling up here, so I can take quite a bit of this. Dry brush it, not dry brush it, thirsty brush it. So when your brush is dry, because it's out of paint, come back into your areas where it's pooled and your brush will suck up any excess moisture, which means you can go in and do slightly more delicate areas. With some nice wet paint, like that. See you later, Jane. Okay, so now on this side, I'm going to use thicker paint. hopefully without dropping it on the floor. Mileage will vary. I think it landed face down. I'm going to have to scrape that off the rug. It's alright, I've got a rug under my desk so that I can... Well, it's because Maddie likes to lie on it, but it's to save the carpet, really, from paint. But if you let things like acrylic paint dry completely before you try and remove it, you can literally just use a scraper and scrape it off. Okay, so let's come in here and just... Lily leaves are quite large and heavy, so I'm not going to draw all the leaves or anything like that, but I'm going to indicate that there might be some leaves and come down in over this brown as well to blend that shadow in a little bit more. The occasional straight line in there because that's what lily leaves kind of look like. I need a bit more green. Put an indication up here of something a little bit more leaf-like. There we go. I don't want to overdo it because I don't want to sit here for hours drawing green leaves on a green background. That would be ridiculous. As I said, that's more time than I'm willing to commit to this project. Lara Croft, Tomb Raider, if you didn't get the reference. Yes, I like that movie, okay? Sue me. Okay. Now, I'm going to take the warmth out of these shadows, but I'm not going to do it with acrylic gouache. I'm going to do it with my Winsor & Newton gouache because I have Spectrum Violet in my Winsor & Newton gouache, which I put where? Over here. Spectrum Violet is a magical colour. If you like drawing flora and fauna, and you like, even if you only prefer watercolours, get ye a Spectrum Violet. Because what it does is it desaturates and it adds this kind of weird hazy blue. And it is, yeah, it's that one in the corner. So this one right here, it looks like indigo blue, but it adds just a weird blue haze. So I'm going to grab a bit of this over here. Gonna take, let's use I'm going to use a watercolour brush for this one. But to get it out of here, I'm going to use the end of my brush. It's a really easy way of getting paint out of the pot. Oh, I didn't put my thing back on. Hang on. I'm going to put that back on there. That goes that way around. I'm going to use my really grubby palette because it really doesn't matter. I'm going to take some of this blue. I could have put it straight on the palette, I just didn't think of it. Now, did I pick up the right colour? I'm doubting if this is the right colour now. Hang on. It doesn't look purple enough. It looks too blue. Let me just double check that I picked up the right colour out of the pot. I might have got the wrong one. Yeah. That's primary blue. No, Prussian blue. I want... But it's okay because this, I can re-wet this and use it again later. Let me put that over there. I need to write the names of my, or at least star the one that I can never tell the name of. Tell which one it is. Okay, here we go. This will be better now. There we go, that's the colour I wanted. It's mixing with purple watercolour underneath, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to make it quite thick, but not too thick. And I'm going to come in around here. Now, because it's regular gouache over acrylic gouache, it won't go on as smoothly because it's very wet. So, you know, if you put water over acrylic, it goes really kind of blotchy. But that's the kind of effect we want for this. Oops, nearly picked up the wrong colour. So cutting in around with this very handy dandy dagger brush. I never used to use dagger brushes, but damn, for corners like this it's really useful because you've got a flat brush, a filbert and a very fine point all in the same brush. And when this starts to dry down, you'll start to see that hazy blue. Oops. Painted over that. I don't want to paint over it, I want to paint around it. Again, we can give the illusion of some leaves back here. Or, I don't know, maybe it's the shadow of the leaves, who knows? Oh, oops. Now, take some much more watered down add some into these areas down here. Not a lot, just enough to make it look like there's some shadows over here too. This is the perfect colour for using for the dark areas in foliage. You have to be brave because you can see it goes on really dark, but as it's drying down, see what's happening? You're getting this like cloudy, bluey, purple, misty shade. And if you find you've got too many harsh edges, you can just come in with a clean damp brush afterwards and just like, you know, maybe this feels a little bit harsh. Clean damp brush and just blend out anywhere you think it's a little bit too much. See? That looks a bit odd there because it is forming a tangent with that petal. So let's just grab some of this and bring it across here a little bit. Blend it out. There we go, that's better. Maybe just a little bit more colour. Look at that beautiful blue haze we've got in there now. And the dark from the sepia underneath. Because if you just put this blue on, you'd just get this. So you wouldn't get this kind of blue. It just looks kind of dark green and a bit... But if you put that dark sepia in first and then put the blue over the top, richy rich colour. Richy rich colour. Now, this, you can't put anything over the top of this now that's wet. Because if you do, it will move. Because it's regular gouache. It's not, you know what I mean. Acryla gouache. It's regular gouache. Just going to add a little bit more colour into this corner because that is looking patchy there. There we go. That's better. Just blend that in a little bit. I don't know why my camera's moving. Because my camera is rock solid on the desk. Maybe my desk's moving. How weird. My camera is moving even though it's not attached to my desk. That's kind of weird. Okay, these are starting to form blobbles. So again, damp brush, just come in and blend them out a little bit. Still got some strange blobular things happening up here. I need to stop fussing with that bit and leave it alone. By the way, if you use these brushes, these dagger brushes, especially a big one like this, and you are terrible, no good, very bad person who leaves their brushes in water, don't. You won't just make your dagger brush a little bit rough looking. You will absolutely destroy it in just a couple of hours. It will never get its shape back again. So always, always put them back. It's the best, most versatile brush there is. Because you can see it's got a flat brush, it's got a filbert, it's got a point, it's got an edge. It's an amazing brush. Don't leave it in water. it's worth not leaving it in water. Especially as you only get one in a set usually. I've actually got 2 in my set. There's a big one and a little one. But the big one is far better for doing stuff like this, cutting in around things. See all that? Can you see that blue going, that purple going like really hazy, misty blue now in the background? Oh, it's gorgeous. I think we can call this done. I mean, I'm still not overly happy about those things here. Maybe I need to put a little bit of... Oh, does that fix my problem? They're not going to stay this bright and yellow because there's ballpoint pen under here, so that will seep up through it, but that is making them stand out. So once the ballpoint pen seeps up into the yellow, hey, there we go. That's what I was looking for. That's the effect I was trying to get. So now I know if I use the ballpoint pen underneath the acrylic paint pen, I will get that translucent quality when the ink from the pen comes up through the paint. Perfect. That's what we were trying to get. There are a couple of little bits that I want to go back in and detail. I'm going to do it with my pen. If you remember, there was a couple of areas where these flowers folded down over themselves. Just going to make it obvious that that's what's happening. Ballpoints work beautifully over this Acryla gouache, by the way. So if you like your ballpoint pens, look how that shadow comes in over there. It really does look like the flower is folding down underneath itself, just with that very, very slight ballpoint shadow in there. Oh, it's fantastic. And because they have a translucent quality, you can still see the colour. Kind of underneath it. So even with this, where this one's got brown, it's a different colour of brown. So you can put it in here and you'll still be able to see the other brown underneath. Gorgeous. Love it. Was that one? Was there a loopy bit on that one? There was indeed. Look at that. I knew I'd put that highlight in there for a reason. Oops, went a little bit dark with that one, but that's okay. It looks alright. Okay, I did say I was going to come back in and just emphasize this shadow a little bit more. I'm going to do that with my pen. Just with a little bit of I'm not pressing hard with my pen at all. But you see how it's just adding a little bit of, almost like a glaze over the top of the paint. It's fantastic. Even blend this out a little bit more with the paint here to get a little bit less of a hard edge. See how that's added just a bit of oomph to that shadow? You wouldn't think it would make so much difference because I am literally... Is this dry? Yeah, mostly. That's the pressure I'm using. You can barely see it on white paper, but the paint is picking up the pen. It's picking up more of the ink than you would be laying down on a piece of plain paper. Because it's rotating the ball. It's basically causing there to be more grip. So it's making the ball turn better. So it's getting more ink down. It's just adding that extra little bit of... I'm not going to go all the way up to the edge. I want to leave this edge so it's got a little bit of a defining highlight. But I'll come down in here and do a little bit extra. And I'm not pressing any harder with my pen. I'm just going over the same spot a lot more times if I want more colour. I don't press hard with ballpoint pens. Oh, sorry, itchy nose. See? Just enough extra oomph to make it look like a cast shadow. A little bit more like a cast shadow. The other area I'm going to hit is this bit here, just to integrate that dark paint into the orange a little better. It just makes a smoother gradient than I can get with the paint. Creates a blended shadow instead of just a hot, heavy shadow. I don't need to go around the outlines of this because this blue is such a high contrast with the orange and brown. You see how it's going hazy? It's almost got a milky quality to it. Love it. Absolutely love it. I do have a little bit just here where it could do with just a little bit of blending out. Soften that corner a little bit. That's better. And we're done. Another page in the sketchbook finished. Woohoo! Oh, I love painting, I really do. I ought to do it more often. I'm trying to paint more in this book. Definitely trying to paint more. I always think with sketchbooks, I always tend to pick up a pen because I think sketchbook sketching. I don't think painting sketchbook painting, if that makes sense. But I need to paint more in my books because seriously, I love painting. I'm going to call that one a day. And I'm really pleased with this one, so I might try and scan it. I don't know how well it's going to come out on a scanner because that Spectrum Violet, anything Spectrum is a little bit non-photo. You are not seeing the right colour on the camera. I can tell you that you're not seeing the right colour on the camera. It looks completely different on screen to what it looks like on the page. So I don't know how well it's going to scan. I might be able to scan it and adjust it in Photoshop. Or Procreate, rather. I could have actually gone in a little bit lighter with this. I don't think it needed to be as heavy. I put a little bit too much blue in it. But it's okay. It doesn't matter. It's a sketchbook. But the orange really pops against that green and purple.
Know your colours, know your highlights. That's what I say to all my girls.
Movie. Seriously, if you didn't get Tomb Raider, you're not going to get that one. Check me out tidying up my desk before I end. Because once that camera goes off, that's it. I move away from this table and I don't come back to it until tomorrow. And there will be crap all over the table until whatever time I come back to it tomorrow. So if I do it now... Oh, I think I know why the camera was shaking. Because the lead for the camera is actually down on the desk here. It shouldn't have been down on the desk. It should have been caught back up there, and I didn't do that. It shouldn't be touching the desk. Those need emptying. That needs to go back in here. No, actually, I might keep that out because I might do this side. This is a abandoned oil rig thing. I don't know. They're big, rusty, turrety stuff in the middle of the North Sea. And I might paint them. I might paint those tonight. In gouache. But not acrylic gouache, regular gouache. So, this is mostly dry now, so pop that on there. And we'll do a flip, shall we? Here's my sketchbook so far. I don't work chronologically in my sketchbooks, so there are blank pages that I will go back and fill in and do stuff with, but this is the sketch for this one, so I need to finish him off. The others are done. Miss Maddie, same sketch. I did this sketch and I liked it so much I traced it onto watercolour paper. Still need to go in and do pen and pencil work on this. I haven't got around to that yet. Yeah, flumps, I believe. This is a sketchbook session here on the channel. This is just a page of bits that I use for warm-ups. That is an abandoned lighthouse that I drew at the same time as I drew those oil rigs. I just felt like drawing abandoned buildings. You know me in abandoned buildings. I love my abandoned buildings. Again, might paint that too. My owl, this is one, this is several actually from, this is acrylic gouache and regular gouache and jelly gouache, and basically, and this bit is watercolour. So I threw everything at this. And that, again, that's that blue, that purpley spectrum violet. See how it goes when it's completely dry? It goes like misty, like you're looking into a deep forest. Sketchbook rats. Haven't done anything with those yet. Another page that I'll have to either paint or cover, but not until I finish doing the marker on it. And then this one, I can't do marker on this because I did marker on here and then I painted this guy, which covered up the marker, as you can see. But if I go back in and put more marker on here, it will bleed through onto this guy, and that's not happening. These are on the channel as well. These were painted on the channel. I need to scan these. That's just a sketch that I haven't done anything with yet. These were... No, I didn't do these. Did I do these on the channel? I might have done some of them. These are all ballpoint pen, and then these two are gouache. I definitely did these on stream, but I don't know if I did it on Patreon or on YouTube. I think this might have been a tutorial, so it might be in Patreon. Pretty sure this was Patreon. That was not Patreon, that was just one I was doing when I was off sick the other week. I spent a few days working on this one, and I love this side, but it's not finished yet. I've got to finish doing the leaves. And then I found one of these elephant ear type begonia things. Again, this one isn't finished yet. I was going to go back in with pencil and do some more pencil. But I really love how the muted colours of this make the panda pop forward. Really like that effect. The baby belly. I like to have stuff like this that's half finished because it takes away that, oh, but I got to start from a blank page thing. I don't have fear of blank page, I'm just lazy. And sometimes I like to have things already drawn or things already half painted that I can come in and work on. So once this dries fully, obviously because it's acrylic, it will take a little bit it'll take like 24 hours to cure properly. And then this side of the paper will dry out and this will go flat again. So it's fine. But you can see the paint doesn't affect this, but the putting marker on the back of this anywhere would cause a problem. Got a couple of blank pages. If I remember correctly, one of these pages doesn't lie flat properly. Yeah, this one doesn't lie flat properly, which is basically means I won't paint on it. I'll probably use it to draw something. So I ended up skipping some pages. One more burr. These are called spectacle bears. Andean spectacle bears. They have circles around their eyes that look like they're wearing specs. They're adorable. The one I drew didn't have as pronounced spectacles, but it's still really fun. And then there's my scorpion that I did. This was Patreon, I think. I don't know, it all merges into one. If it's not on the channel, it's a Patreon page. Okay. So if you can't see it in a thumbnail, it's Patreon. And then at the back is mostly, I've got swatches and colours and things. This is all oil pastel, which is why it's got a thing over the top of it. I was just testing different colours to see which colours I like. These are the Sennelier ones. I love these colours. I'd really like to do more oil pastel, but I don't like it on textured paper like this. I would rather use it on a smooth board or something like that. I also don't like using them in sketchbooks because you have to do this kind of pathetic stuff with it, and I don't like that either. Watercolour palette Spring 2023. I've just updated it for summer. I've also updated my... Where did I put it? Do I ever know where anything is? Seriously. Oh, there it is. It's literally staring at me. I got my Ohuhu markers out. That limited colour palette that I used for the bottles and books didn't have enough tonal contrast, so I added some extra colours. There's actually 40 colours here. And the way you test if it's got enough tonal values, by which I mean if it's got enough contrast between lights and darks and everything in between, you take the colour of the palette, you take a photo of the palette and then you desaturate it. You see how many different variations of grey I've got, especially down here. Really light colours, almost white. Really very, very pale greys. Cool greys, warm greys, neutral greys, and then I've got some down here that are almost black. So that's how you can tell if your colour palette is going to give you a good tonal contrast. The scorpion was from class. Yeah, I thought it was. It seemed witchy, kind of Scorpio vibes. So yeah, I've put those into a thing because I find markers a bit overwhelming. There's too much choice. It's too much colour choice. With watercolours, you have your watercolours and you can mix colours if you want them, but they're not in your face, making you choose which colour you want. Whereas markers, who has sent me so many different markers that I'm overwhelmed by the amount of choices I've got. So I find it easier to take 40 out of my 200 or so markers and just work with those and just change and swap them out. It's a lot easier. But this is quite a nice summer colour palette. Lots of cools, lots of blues and greens and greys because I do a lot of outdoor sketching. Lots of browny colours that I can use for buildings, and then purpley pinks and reds that I can use for flowers, because you don't have to do the flowers the colour they are. You can do them different colours. And then this is for Motivation Mondays. I did some free stuff for the Motivation Mondays and my watercolour pencils. And then I've only got like that left at the end of the book. I mean, I've got lots of blank pages at the beginning of the book, but this is the end of the book. This is the last spread, and then there's just that to go. Which is why I like going out of chronological order, because I tend to go back and work on these pages, and then every so often I'll do another page at the back. And then by the time you've finished up these pages, you're like, oh, I've only got one spread left. And then it's just finishing the sketchbook. So instead of having like, oh, I need to do another 6 spreads at the end of my sketchbook, but I'm getting bored with it, you're just like, oh, I've got like, I've got that one unfinished, I've got some space here, I can do some doodles, I've got some more here, this isn't finished yet, I could paint over this and do something else. Or if you do something outside your sketchbook, you can just stick it in there and go, you know what, it's an alcohol marker, I don't care, I'm just going to stick it over the top. This page is already wasted, it doesn't matter. So this book, originally I was trying to finish it in 3 months. No, yeah, middle of February to middle of March, April, May. I didn't manage to do it by the middle of May, but I'm on track for finishing it by the end of June. So 5 months. But bear in mind, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other sketchbooks and a journal. I don't only work in one sketchbook at a time, so I'm trying to get the paint off my hands. I should just go and wash my hands, shouldn't I? Anyway. Looks like a great set. Which set? A great set I chose. Which set? I missed that. I don't. The Senneliers, the oil pastels, because that was what I was, or the markers. The markers is a good set. I can actually put. I've got the card, so if I can put this on Patreon, on a post on Patreon, if anybody wants this colour set, to either find their own markers similar or the markers, yeah. I'll put this, I've got this photographed already, so I'll put it on the, when I put the YouTube video link up on Patreon as a public post, I will add this to it as well. And then if anybody wants this as a reference to pull, you know, colour pencils or whatever, or even for mixing watercolours, you're welcome to have it. But it's also got the Ohuhu marker names on it, so, which is always handy. Right, I'm going to call it a day before I turn my, let's put my palette over here, because, you know, you got to do the thumbnail thing, don't you? Let's grab a couple of my Acryla gouache in the right colours. Let's have a yellow and a sepia and the orange, because that's the colours I mostly used. Take a photo for the old thumbnail. And then one for not Patreon, the gram. One for the gram. There we go. And we're done. Thanks for joining me, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn on notifications if you want to know when I'm going live, or come over and join my Patreon Discord. Subscribers and followers can join my Patreon Discord. You just won't be in the class sections, the class channels, that's all. So you will get notified when I'm going live there as well. You'll also get up-to-date things on Patreon for, you know, changes I'm making to Patreon and things like that. So thanks, guys. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you all again